let's face it, sometimes you need cover, and there's just plain not any on the table, or you have one little terrain piece in your entire side. So what are your options at this point? You could put everything right out in the open and get blasted to pieces. Sometimes that works if your opponent doesn't have a whole lot of anti-armor. You are, by the way, playing Imperial Guard in this scenario. So what can you really do to give as much cover to as many of your units as possible? One of the big things is, let's say this is an objective game, capture and control. This is your deployment side over here, and you want to just put this objective right by the corner pretty much. Okay, so you have this objective. You could put it in like the one little piece of terrain that's like near the front of your deployment zone and kind of out in the open and closer to the enemy assault, stuff like that. In this case, I'm going to put it back here because it's capture and control. So what I can do, say this is a 2,000 point game, is I can just put half my army back here and put the rest of my army in by that terrain feature to try and knock out the opponent's objective. So there's always a case where you come up, you get to a situation where you just basically have no freaking cover. Either the person you're playing against is a jerk and they play assaulting armies or something and they don't want you to have any cover, something like that. And you're going to have to deal with it occasionally. Especially at tournaments, there's less cover than there typically is, so if you need to hold this objective at all costs and you're going to be encountering a huge frickin' force, here's some ideas on what to do. How to keep this objective no matter what. Then it's just a matter of either contesting your opponent's objective with deep striking or outflanking units, or running some tanks up there, boosting some Valkyries to contest, or just killing your opponent's troops. So I've got 2 squads. By the way, everything I'm putting on the table right now is going to total up to about 1,000 points, a little over 1,000 to 1,100 points. So it's about half your points, which leaves half of your army. So I mean, if you can, with half of your points, completely and utterly secure and guarantee you this objective, then you're golden. All you need to do with your other half of the army is manage to kill your opponent's troops or contest their objective. So basically what I'm doing is I've got 2 Chimeras with heavy stubbers added on. They don't need extra armor because they're not moving anywhere. And you want to leave enough room back here that you can deploy your guys if you have to. Now, if you're playing against something like orcs with Snickrod, the guy that can outflank from any board edge, or Space Wolves with Space Wolf Scouts, then you have to do this a little bit differently just to get close enough to the edge that they can't come in behind you. So just don't leave a full inch back there. You want to leave room for your guys to deploy. It'll just require a little creativity of turning your tank sideways and stuff like that. So, and everything I'm placing here right now they're just counting as armored sentinels. So when I added up these points, I added up 6 armored sentinels. Something like this. Isn't that beautiful? So you've got 6 armored sentinels counting with autocannons. I mean, you can give them whatever you want. And I've got a Lehman Russ with camo netting, heavy bolters, las cannon. You could, of course, give the Chimeras camo netting too. It certainly wouldn't be a bad idea. And yeah, this is basically what you do. For most targets, all of the weapons in this configuration have line of sight, minus that heavy bolter. Of course, a little maneuvering could get that visible too. It's a really, really tough formation to crack. So you've got 6 sentinels here. You could, in the first round, pop smoke or something like that. Things like this Lehman Russ. There's no way you're going to tell me that's not obscured. All of these things are obscured by these sentinels. So So 4+ cover, which turns to a 3+ with the camo netting. You've got 2 squads of troops, 2 veteran squads in here. I just added them up with 3 melta-guns, but you can give them grenade launchers to give them some better ranged firepower. I mean, honestly, there's no way anything's getting through this. If they manage to get to you and assault you, and even manage to kill a whole squad of the Sentinels, then they've got to do that same thing to a Lehman Russ and to a Chimera, and then get past the Chimera wreckage to the guys behind there, and then there's another Chimera with guys inside. And it's just really nasty. Everything here except for the Sentinels are getting cover saves. This is one of your many options to facing an opponent in no terrain, pretty much. You've got this objective. Honestly, unless you make a fatal error or the dice rolls are absolutely horrendous, there's no way really anything's going to get through this. Nothing can outflank on this side right here. They still have to go through the Sentinels. If something comes on your table edge, if you know they have something that can come on your table edge, you just keep these back a little further. Anything that comes on this side still has to go through the Sentinels. There's really no good way around this. So this is half your army. I think you can manage with your other half to at least contest the opponent's objective, even if you have to just run all vendettas and boost them all onto the opponent's objective and just sit them there. So this is one idea. A smaller version of this, what I like to call, I just named this actually, I'm just calling it the cover save conga line. You could run it similar to this and just move it straight up the side of the table. Cover save here. Lehman Russ can still shoot 2 weapons when it moves. You can still fire your heavy stub or your multi-laser and the guys inside when you move there. It just generally grants you a good amount of cover. If you know your opponent's not outflanking or anything, I mean, you can move it over a little bit and kind of come on an angle towards your opponent. Lots of options to giving yourself cover saves. Sentinels are a really good unit for this with their front armor 12. Cheap, decent heavy weapons. I think it's 5 points for an autocannon or something like that. So definitely worth considering. This wouldn't be a bad strike force to try to punch into your opponent's objective either. And of course you can always run 2 of these units. If it's something like kill points, let me bring out my other Russes here. Sorry this is so long-winded, by the way. With your Lehman Russes, you can always do pretty much the same thing as you did with the Chimeras. And honestly, what on earth is going to get through that? Nothing's going to get through that, is the correct answer. And this should come up to just a little bit more than the last configuration I showed you, because that was 165 points for each Chimera squad pretty much. So this will only come up to maybe 1,200 points, somewhere around there. And cover saves out the ass with this thing. 3 Lehman Russes, getting 3+ cover. By the way, this is 13 dice. Statistically, with Space Marines shooting las cannons, Lehman Russ with a camo netting and 4+ cover, it's technically getting, it should take about 13 las cannons fired by Space Marines to get 1 result, to get to roll 1 die on the damage table. So take out 1s and 2s. 95s and 6s on my front armor here. Got 3 of those. And odds hold up. 1 gets through. 1 die gets through. And that could be a glance or a pen. And then, you roll on the table. If they got lucky, they get a 6, but they have a 1 in 6 chance of that at that point. So it's really, really hard to break through. Most people don't have 13 las cannons lying around every turn just to get one hit on the damage table. So something like this in the other corner of your deployment could probably be enough to take out most people's whole armies, seeing as everything's going to be able to shoot every turn. But yeah, just some general ideas for you, and thanks for watching, guys.